Welcome to episode 2 of What is Marketing, the extensive guide to building your website. First things first, let's create a goal for the site. This is sometimes obvious. Companies often say sales is number one, or building a brand image is number one. But you might be a photographer who wants to have an easier way to share your latest photo shoot with a client. In that case, that would be your goal for your site. Some things you might have as goals are the following: sales, engaged leads, brand awareness, or resource distribution. What that looks like: sales is obvious. You want to make a sale. It's often an e-commerce store. Engaged leads, this is someone who's selling a service or selling a product that's a higher value, and then they need a lead that they can reach out to. Brand awareness, this is often a company that just wants to get some more information about their brand or their products out into the world. And resource distribution, this is more niche. Small business side of this looks like the photographer who's trying to send out pictures. The large business is using this for distributor information, is using this for sending out forms and documents. Lawyers' offices use these quite a lot at financial advisors. Those kinds of people will use resource distribution in their website quite a lot. So that's step one. Step one, define your goal for your site. Step two is find your domain. When you're looking for a domain, there's a couple of things that you want to make sure for. Make sure your domain is available to buy, and that there aren't any issues as far as your endings. So you might have a .com, you might have a .ca, there might be a .live somewhere. If there's another site that's already purchased, go ahead, check out that site. Make sure it's not scandalous, make sure there's nothing on there that's going to kind of tarnish the name of your URL. Go ahead and buy that URL once you've checked it. At this stage, it makes sense not to keep your domain name where you've chosen to build your site. If you are building a Wix site or a Squarespace site, keep in mind that those sites it can be a lot harder to pull your domain name off in the future if you ever choose to leave and go with like a WordPress system or Joomla or an HTML site. So it is going to be important that you remember, buy your domain somewhere that you have full access to it. Google Domains is a great place to go, and then you can have full control, full access to your domain. So make sure you don't buy it with the service. That's step two. So step one, define your goal. Step two is find and buy your domain. Step three is put together a design guide. Design guides used to be made up of wireframes and content. This is really just going to be what pictures, design elements, and branding do you want throughout the site. This is not a full wireframe. This is what pictures do I have, what pictures do I like. This definitely covers colors, pictures, taglines, products and services you want to have listed, and any resources on your site that you want to have available for people coming and looking for them. You will want to use original content. Google will punish you for using stock photography and overused content. When a piece of content is overused online, that piece of content gets downranked in search engine optimization. So just make sure you're keeping your content original and that you're writing your own content as well. Keep in mind, this is your online showpiece. This is what people think of you as your business. Get the content right. A lot of sites are made by the content. A good site is almost always made by its content. Great photos, great taglines, hooks that get people engaged. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to find yourself in a position where my layout's really, really great, but the photos aren't captivating, and neither is the text in my website. 4 is layout. This is a much more complex topic, so let's define some terms. CTA, or call to action, is whatever the goal is of a specific page or basically a click-through. So a call to action could be a buy now button, or it could be a fill out this form. There's lots of different kinds of calls to action, but the call to action is specifically the goal of that particular part of the site. The next term that I want to talk about is the fold. The fold is a term used to define the area of a site that loads in right away, or a page that loads in right away. Once you start scrolling, now you're looking before the fold of the page. The fold is really important to pay attention to, because that's what for sure anyone landing on that page is going to see. The flow or customer path is the next thing I'd like to define. This is the experience, the journey of how someone navigates through your site. Google calls this behaviors. If you go to your Google Analytics dashboard, once you have everything set up, you will be looking for under customers and behaviors, and it will show you they went from this page to that page to that page. The flow is made up of page views and buttons clicked to get to those pages. Click depth. Click depth is very simple. It's how many times did you click to get to a certain location on the website. Hooks and magnets. Hooks are the reason someone comes to a page and engages with content. It captures attention and directs it. That is what a good hook does. On a website, a hook is often for a lead magnet, an offer that is cheap or free that solves a narrow problem completely. And that narrow problem should be within your field. This product or offer should be something of true value. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to put together a bit of a guide so you can go through, build your website. This is an offer of some kind. The best way to use a lead magnet on your website is often to put it behind some kind of lead capture. So an email capture, you can have a downloadable that when someone puts in their email, gets sent off to their email. Now you have their email, you can reach out to them and you can contact them. You can have it behind a lead form that has all their information as far as email or text message or phone number. So you can capture that lead. So lead magnet is a way to capture a lead on the site. The next term I want to define a little bit is landing pages. Landing pages are where people arrive on your site. The old website model for the 2000s was build the best homepage you possibly can, have all of your information on there, and direct everybody to that one homepage. This was a tactic in order to reduce the amount of pages, the amount of content on a site. This is not really how it's done anymore. Oftentimes now, what is the better thing to do is to have a really good homepage, but then to also have a specific landing page for each one of your offers. So an offer of a website designed for myself, you can go to my website, there's a specific book a call to chat about building a website with me. Now, if you go to the site, you're going to see that it's built out for that single call to action. And a landing page is that. It's a page that has a specific singular call to action and is built for a customer to kind of land there and get all the information they need. Now the meat and the potatoes, that's the main portion. That's my definitions. The meat and potatoes of the layout is a website should be structured to follow a couple of things. It should either be followed to follow the norms that have been set by graphic designers and web designers over the years, or it should be built to break them. We're not going to talk about that here, as that's a very niche type of site that you'd be building. We're going to talk about the norms, as that's something that's easier to establish and probably what you want to do for your business. The norms in a site kind of start out very simple. At the top of your site, on the top left-hand side, you're going to see a logo. And the reason that logo is there is not necessarily because it's the best place for a logo, maybe it's not the best place for your logo, but the purpose for it is every site for the last 10 years, the primary location for the logo is the top left-hand corner. And because people recognize that and are used to having the logo there, it helps with navigation. It's a click to the home screen. It's the identify what website I'm on. People use that top left-hand corner instinctively. It's built into us from using all these websites built over the last year, or many years. And so you want to keep your logo in that place to follow those norms and make navigation as easy as possible for someone coming to your website. Followed by that top left-hand side, you now want to have your menu along the top of your website, and that's in your very top header. Those menu items should only be key pages that are crucial, that have fundamental information about your brand or services. In that header, you could have an About Us, you can have a Shop Now, you can have contact us page. Those are some of the things that you want in there. You don't want to have your terms and services. You don't want to have your privacy policy. Those things should be regulated to the bottom of your site, where if you're looking for it, you can find it, but is not crucial to a regular user of your website. The other things you might find in a header on sites like shopping sites, or the other thing would be account sites, a site where you have a login, is you'll find a shopping cart in that top header, or you might find a login to my account in that top header. And that is, again, a norm. It's standardized across the web, and you want to have that so that people can easily navigate your site. Shopify does a very good job of kind of just adding that all in for you. If you're doing a custom design, you want to make sure that it's still there. For a case like where you don't want to have something like that in your header, would be if you want to clean up your website and you want to have a super clean portfolio website. You may then hide your menu navigation and those types of links behind a menu pullout or a menu drawer. Those are a couple of things you can look up. Basically, it's a way to make it very similar to mobile, where there's a hamburger looking thing. You click on it and it extends out and gives you all your menu options. The one last thing that you might put in your header would be a call to action. This would be your primary call to action, and this would be if you have one specific primary call to action that people use over and over and over again. Your header should have your logo, your menu, and some type of call to action. The next part of your site under that menu header is going to be your hero section. The hero section is the first thing someone will see when they come to your site. This is your hero. So it's your hero product, it's your hero service, it is if you're selling an experience, this is that pinnacle of experience. That is what this should be. This is what you should be trying to represent in that hero section. This portion of your site should often take up to right around 80% of your screen. So you want to have it almost fill the screen of whatever device you're on and not quite fill the screen. For a portfolio site, again, you will probably want to have more of an immersive experience and you may fill the whole screen. For a website that is trying to sell something or has an additional goal, you will likely want to have 20% at the bottom to hook people into scrolling through the rest of whatever page you are on. So if it's a landing page or the home page, you want people to engage with more of what you put on that page. And so what you will do is you'll put a hook in that additional 20%. That hook should be a piece of text that really grabs people, that is a reason for them to keep scrolling, and then you will put additional content under there that is very valuable. This should be something that you think about a little bit. This should be your key offering, your key service, not something that's just a little piece of content. This is important to your company, and it's going to draw people deeper. Something that will keep people scrolling. Headlines are really good. Videos are often very, very good. A product scroll can be fantastic. If your product is one where you would say, oh, my product sells itself, you may want to put a bunch of your products there so that people can see, oh, this is what it looks like, it's beautiful, I'm going to buy it. As you scroll down the page, you should always have a way for a viewer to interact with your site. Right at the top in the hero, you do want to provide some kind of way of doing a call to action, even if it's over top of a picture or it's on the left-hand side and you have a picture on the right. However you have that hero laid out, there should be a call to action. Then as you scroll down, there should be additional calls to action. Maybe it's a click through to a product, or it's a watch a video, or it's a scroll through some kind of images or blog posts that you have. You should always have a way to interact all throughout the site. And you can have additional calls to action on a home page all the way down to the bottom. Every business will need to design their home page to match their product, their pitch. It's going to be a little bit different for you than it is for me. It's going to be a little bit different for a product that sells online than a product that sells in person. You will need to design that. You will need to come up with a plan. How do I sell my product? What's going to pitch it the best? The last thing that you want to make sure is really on your website, on that home page, it's going to be some social proof. This can be reviews. This can be some Google stars. This can be the Better Business Bureau or some achievements you guys have gotten. Awards are often very good for this. This is proving that you do what you do well. Now, landing pages can be very similar to this. The one difference with a landing page is that there is only one call to action on a landing page. There is only one interaction, and that is whatever the goal is for that page. So that goal could be, I need a lead or I need a sale. These call to action pages, these landing pages, should have a specific goal. As you scroll down that page, you want to continually go through, what is my sales pitch? Why do people buy it? Why should they buy it? And then finally have some social proof of other people who've bought it who've had fantastic success with achieving the goal. The best way to lay out a landing page like that is to have an immediate call to action at the top where they can immediately convert from whatever ad you sent them here from. That ad may have gotten them excited enough that they are just going to convert. For those who don't and are going to scroll down the page, you want to structure it again very specifically where you have what is the problem, how is that problem going to hurt if they don't can fix it right away, how are you going to solve that problem, and then social proof of other people having had that problem solved by you in the best way possible, having the best results, and then a lead form or a sale or however you want to pitch that. The one time this might differ would be with a product page. Pages are very much landing pages. The one difference with them is you usually want to have a left-right layout where you have all of that information on one side and you immediately show the product on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. You can switch them around, that's no problem. A product page should have both of those, still those same elements as you scroll though. You should have what's the problem, how do you solve the problem, how does this product solve the problem, and then probably some reviews on that product. That's your social proof. The other types of pages that you would structure differently than the home page or a landing page are going to be pages that have collections on them. So a collection of blogs, collection of products, could be a collection of news articles. However it's structured, those collection pages should be listed very cleanly. So you should have a very minimal header. You may have some sorting in that minimal header, and then you want to have all of your collection listed. That collection can be listed in a lot of different ways. The current design is to design a very, very nice card that will display the key features of that product, feature, blog, whatever it is, in order so they can get a glimpse and click through to get more information. It'll often be a picture, a headline, a description, maybe a 5-star rating or whatever it's going to be, but it will all be within a designed card. You have all your cards laid out. Those pages are designed a little bit differently than the rest in that they aren't pitching. They are just kind of a catalog to sort through. Let's talk about layouts a little bit of landing pages. There are two primary landing page layouts. They're for a specific landing page. We're not talking about a home page right now, a specific landing page. There are two that are proven to work time and time again, and it's because they're simple. And that is the single column layout and the left-right layout. Single column layout is very straightforward. You lay it out in one column all the way down the whole site. So you start out with your intro, you go into your call to action, and then you go into your problem, and you hook them all the way down and through. The left-right is almost identical to the single column. The only difference is you build it in two columns. On the left, you'll have some text. On the right, you have a picture. Flip-flop them. So it just allows you to bring more content into your above the fold portion of your landing page and get a little bit more of an idea to your client before they scroll all the way through the landing page. Okay, now we've kind of got the layout down. You kind of know how to build out your homepage. You kind of know how to build out your landing pages. This is really good. We've gone quite a long way. Step 5 is content. You need to put the content that you curated, the pictures, the elements into your site. Make sure everything works. Make sure everything looks good. Make sure all your copy is great. Websites live and die on good content. If you have a really good layout and really bad content, people are still going to hate your website. If you have really good content and your layout suffers a little bit, it's going to matter a whole lot less. The content is really going to make or break your site, and you want to put a little bit of effort into it. Take some new pictures, get some new content. Step 6 is proof your website. Go through each page, make sure the spelling's right, make sure your pictures are correct, make sure you have everything you need on your site. Make sure each page can be navigated to from the site so nothing's hidden somewhere. Make sure each link does actually work and link to where it's supposed to go. You don't want to have broken links when you go live. So go through your site, proof it out. You also want to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing in that proofing. It's actually quite important for your website to look good in order to sell or gain leads. 7 is fun. It's very exciting. It's put your site live. So you're going to take your domain, you're going to connect it to your site. There's a couple of things with your domain that get a little bit complicated. There's going to be some DNS settings that you need to set up. You're going to have to point it to wherever you're hosting your website, whatever name server that is. You're going to want to point all your information there. You may have to set up some additional stuff on your domain name for email addresses and such. That can all be done and often is very simple with a domain provider like Google. GoDaddy tries to make it as simple as they possibly can. I find them a little bit more complicated to use. Just on the user experience side, I've used them lots, but try to find something that's a little bit easier to use. Google is one that I recommend. Once you have it directed to your website should be live. Hooray. Some of those settings may take 24 hours to update, so don't worry too much if you set up all your settings and then the site isn't quite live. It sometimes takes a little while for the information to propagate. But that's not all. Your site is live, but don't get too excited. You need to start tracking the people who show up. You need to record and be able to see if what you're doing is working, if your site is working. There's a couple of different trackers you want to set up. You're going to want to set up Google Analytics. GA4 is the current Google Analytics that you would want to set up. This is very simple on most web builders. So if you chose to use WordPress or Shopify, or I think Squarespace also has a very easy integration with Google and Google Analytics. They make it very, very simple to set it up. You just go through the steps and get it hooked up to your site so you can track the people who land on your site. The next thing that you might want to set up is Google Ads. If you're going to run ads for your site, you want to put a Google Ads tag on your site, as well as a Facebook pixel, which is a tag for Facebook to be able to track people who land on your site. This just helps you get better conversions and allows you to have really good data about how to run ads. If you put a pixel from Facebook and you put a Google tracker onto your website before you run the ads, you will actually begin to gain access to a list of people who've been to your site, and you can retarget them at a later date. I do recommend that you hook up those tags right away so that as anybody who visits your site, you can capture that person and retarget them later on. That's it. That's all. Now your site is live. Now you can sell your product, you can market it, and you can push people to your website. Obviously, the next question is always comes up. How do I get people to see my website? How do I push people to my website? That is a great question for another podcast. This podcast is at a close, and we will cover that at a later date. But just a little bit of a sneak peek: social media, paid ads, signage. There's lots of stuff you can do on the marketing side to drive people to your new website that you've built and is ready to go. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us here at Solosphere. That's solosphere.com if you have any questions. Thanks for listening to What is Marketing?